live for another episode of the Thumb Strong podcast. Today we are excited because we got special guest Mickey Strickler from the health store. Mickey's been a member here for I think over 8 years, anyways, maybe 9 years.
8 or 9.
Yeah. So I want to start off, just maybe introduce yourself, and then we'll start asking you some questions about your fitness journey with us, what kind of results you've seen, maybe prior history of fitness, anything that you've done in the past.
Sure.
And then I also want to talk about your health store because you own the supplement store here in town, and hopefully kind of inform people about what they can find in there and how you might be able to help them as far as supplements and health foods and stuff like that goes. So I guess just kick it off with a little intro about you, and then we'll get into your fitness background.
Okay. Well, my name's Mickey, like you said. I own the health store in town. I've done that for 18 years this summer. Married, my wonderful wife, Crystal, 3 kids. I do other things too. I really won't get into all that. But basically, my life is working at the store and working out here when I can, and spending time with my kids.
You're not originally from Sandusky, right?
I graduated from Sandusky.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I went to school here, elementary school. Then my mom divorced my dad. We moved around a lot. I went to like 6 different schools before we settled back in Sandusky, and this is where I graduated high school. After high school, I joined the Army. I was in the Army for a while. And then after active duty, I moved around. I had different jobs. I stayed in the reserves, got called back out of the reserves, did more active duty time. 14 years total time in that. Before I called that quits. I don't know. That's about it.
You played sports in high school?
I did not. I did before I moved to Sandusky. I was on a swim team for a couple of years. I ran cross country. I did track. I moved to Sandusky. I did not want to move here. I fought my mom on it. And when we came here, I quit all sports.
Oh, in defiance.
Yeah, basically. And I regretted it, later on. But, there was no swim team here. So I
know. I wish we had.
They don't even have an indoor pool. Where are we moving to?
This is lame, man.
Yeah. So anyway, I quit sports. And my mom was really mad at me, and I played football for like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and then I quit when I moved here. So I never played again. So. Yeah.
Did you keep working out since did you want to go into the Army?
No,
high school,
I did not work out. When I joined the Army, I was like off the street in shape, just out of shape. Yeah, and boot camp brought me around pretty quick.
Most people
I was 17 when I joined the Army. My mom had to sign papers, so I actually went in young. I went in when they had a program back then. I went in before I graduated high school. I went in after my junior year. So it was after my junior year, I spent that whole summer and even part of my senior year in boot camp. And then I came back and finished my senior year and graduated high school. But I had gotten in really good shape quickly. Yeah, cardio-wise, I could run, like 5.5 minute miles and stuff like that. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I was really light. I graduated high school with 135 pounds.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
So, at the same height that I am now, I was really skinny.
Yeah.
I could do push-ups really quick and run. So,
And you were talking earlier, you didn't grow up like a super healthy lifestyle.
No, not really. My mom, didn't really cook much. We maybe had bananas in the house or something, but it was a lot of cereals, things out of boxes, frozen foods. That's just Kool-Aid, and pop. It's just what we did. I didn't really, and even into my adult life a little ways, I did that for a while. Yeah. Or well into my adult life, I just fast food. Could cook something that was quick and easy. Yeah.
You really don't have to worry about it too much when you're probably running every day and when you're in boot camp. And
you could eat pretty healthy, actually.
Oh, could you?
If you chose to. Yeah, they have
the
salad
options.
bars and things like that. Yeah, sure.
Do they have is there a structure to their workout plan of getting you in shape, or is it just
they'll break it
PT,
down it's PT, but they'll break it down based on skill level. Like eventually they'll separate the good runners from the people that really struggle, because you can't hold back the people that are so they would break us up into 4 groups. Running group, and it was lightning and down, I forget what I was down to turtle. I was in lightning. So
okay. So you always hear about the running in the boot camp. Do they do any in push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and all that stuff?
Right.
Do they do any resistance training, like strength training? No? Okay. I wasn't sure if they had any.
There's no time for that. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No time for
Makes
that.
sense.
Yeah.
But when you leave boot camp and you're on active duty, every base you go to anywhere in the world, there's gyms with full weights, machines, everything.
Are you just at your own liberty for that? Or?
As long as you're off duty,
Yeah, they don't give you.
And you can count it as your PT time instead of all training as a company or a unit.
Yeah.
You can go on your own and do that. So,
Gotcha.
but I never got into weightlifting until later in my 30s. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you were in the Army for like 14 years.
total time and
Total
reserves and
time.
active duty.
Were you in decent shape during that
Most
stretch?
of the time?
Mostly?
I was call myself in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I could
Running,
run anytime.
calisthenics,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just
Mhm.
push-ups.
Running,
pull-ups.
push-ups, all the things that jumping jacks and all those things we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then after the Army, what was that kind of stretch between your kind of maybe mid-30s up until you started here?
Mid to late 30s, early 40s when I got out of shape. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't do any physical activity really at all. I didn't run. I didn't go to a gym. I didn't play basketball. I didn't do any of that. So I gained weight and chubby, I guess. Gained a lot of weight.
You
like I was
anyways.
telling you guys earlier, I got up to 192, which is hard for me to even believe, but I did. So.
And you weren't super muscular.
No, I mean, I was lifting some weights. I knew some guys that taught me, how to lift little weights, but it was just all bulk, just come in and just bench and then go home. The next day come in and maybe, do some squats and, leg curls or something. It's just, I look back on it as like, what a waste of time. Considering the shape I'm in now anyway. I understand a lot of people do that and it works for them, but I would never go back to that.
Well, what were some of the struggles that you had with health and fitness during that period?
I started to eat better because I needed to feel better. When I got discharged from active duty, I was in the Middle East for about a year and a half. I was deployed. My mental health wasn't great. I had trouble transitioning back to civilian life. The VA wanted to put me on medication and diagnose me with different things. That's when I started looking more at the natural stuff.
Right.
I never looked back.
Is that part of the reason that you got into the store?
Yes. I'd worked for the lady that started the store. A lady named Carol had started the store back in the 90s. It's been around 30-some years. Believe it or not. She didn't really run it. It was more kind of like a hobby, something for her to do. She was an older lady. When she decided to retire, I had worked for her part-time while I was in college, and I made an offer to buy the store from her. And I had to move. She was selling the building. I couldn't afford the building at that time, so I moved it to where it is today. And like I said, it's been 18 years I've been doing that. So,
where was it before?
She had built the building right next to China Lee. It was a long time. It was the Jade Room. Now it's the accountant's office, like where Franzel and Krasinski and them are in. Yeah, she had built that building.
Oh, wow.
It was a massage place. They had 4 therapists over there.
Oh, okay.
And they had kind of as an afterthought supplements. I mean, they had a little area for it, but it was never big.
I actually see that a lot with chiropractors.
Yeah, they'll have
stuff. They'll just have a display
section of and it kind of went like that. But then she realized, okay, there's money in this, so she expanded it. And when I worked for her, we realized, there's more money in this than the massages. Really, the therapists do well on their own, but for the store, it didn't really bring in much. But so I decided, well, I could do this. And she had employees and grandkids working there, and I'm like, if I did this myself, I could easily do this. So I thought, well, I'll do this while I finish college. So I did that. Never finished college. And I just been doing it ever since. So.
Okay.
What were you going to college for?
I wanted to be a teacher. I've always history. I mean, I'm a history buff. I read history almost every day. I read something history either on my phone or books at home. Sometimes I'll have 2-3 books started, and I gotta be like, okay, I gotta finish one reading before. But I did some student teaching and some observations and things, and found that I probably didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
That's fair. I just didn't really want to be around at that point in time in my life. I could do it now, but I'm not gonna go back and do it.
A little bit more mellow now, or
but coming from even in college at 30, 31, coming from it just came back from a war zone. I did not fit in the college classroom very well.
I can
a lot of 18, 19-year-olds. I just I just sit there like but
like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. So but anyway, I never finished college. Just kept doing that, but that's where I got into the health stuff. Slowly changing my diet, more natural, more healthy, and looking at herbs and things instead of the medication the VA was mailing them, which I never took. They just mail you stuff.
Wow.
You meet with somebody virtually on a laptop, and next day or 2-3 days later, you get a padded envelope with Prozac in it. It's like, okay, I'm not doing this. So that's really when I started looking at herbs and talking to people and following through on it. So
that is cool.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the problem with the health system, our healthcare, which
I
think
those out that. Just meet with somebody that I didn't like meeting with them on a computer. Sometimes I would drive to a facility and still sit in a room like this and look at a monitor and talk to someone.
Right.
Okay, I drove all the
Yeah,
way here to
I-
talk to somebody.
I've done that.
And I walked out a couple times. And hey, get back here. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I've heard the VA is the best, especially too.
Yeah, at times it was okay, but I don't utilize the VA. I can. I'm entitled to it, but my wife is a teacher at Better Insurance, so it's sad.
There you go.
Talk a little bit about when you first got started here. You mentioned you started just in the gym.
Just in the gym. You didn't even own the business yet.
Yeah.
You were around. I think you worked under Ryan or with
Yeah.
Ryan a little bit, and I basically really didn't know what I was doing. Just come in and do something. I work this today. I mean, I knew some of the exercises, but really didn't have a plan. I mean, there were days I walk in here and not really know what I was even going to do.
Right. I think a lot of people struggle with that, honestly.
Absolutely.
Especially with all the more machines you have,
And one of my biggest struggles too is I would pull in and it would be crowded, and I wouldn't even get out of my car sometimes. I'll admit that. It's too many people. So I'd be intimidated.
Yeah.
Which
a
I
lot of people struggle.
Yeah,
with
which I don't feel
which
like
is
intimidating very easy.
That's
but apparently that at that point in time I felt I'm gonna look ridiculous. I'm out of shape. People are gonna laugh at me, and that's totally not the case. Now that I've been here for feel how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
Because this place is total opposite of that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
So.
But that's interesting. I think it's valuable that you just said that, because you were in the Army for 14 years. You were in great shape. You're a guy, which usually guys are a lot less intimidated than females coming to a gym. And you were still a little intimidated, not knowing what to do.
Yeah, not knowing what I didn't want to walk in there look like I totally didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. It just goes to show that people that are intimidated, it's like, okay, this is normal for everyone, no matter what kind of shape you're in or what your background is, really. I mean, even for us to go to a new gym to work out, there's a little bit of an intimidation factor going into a new space with different people.
Oh,
I mean, even today, I walk into a brand new gym. If you were to go in and do a workout with a bunch of CrossFit athletes, it's like, all right, gotta bring my A game here. A little nervous about it, that kind of thing.
Just I gotta prove myself.
Yeah, I got to prove, seriously.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah, you're we go to a different gym and the machine's different than the ones, even though with the leg curl machine, it's still a different leg curl, and you're like, do I have the setup right?
Yeah.
You're kind of thinking around with it for a little bit, and you're like, well, what's that machine do? And you're trying to figure it out, and you're like, okay, I don't want to look stupid when I'm doing this.
Right.
And I'm like, I swear I know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just a little confused.
Yeah. No, that's good though. And then after you mentioned Connie and I kind of talked you into doing your first fit camp. So talk about that a little bit.
That was a lot different back then. That wasn't the CrossFit of today. It was circuit training, I don't know what you call it.
Style.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a whole lot of
rotating
equipment.
stations. Yeah, no. I mean, no, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I found out it was fun. I found out I liked it. Found out I wasn't as quite a bad shape as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
And the pounds came off me quick. I was shocked just by moving and adding that back into my life, the movement,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I got down into the 170s now from 192.
Yeah.
And then I put muscle back on. So, So.
Were you already eating pretty healthy then?
No, I mean, at that point it was just my wife and I. We had one kid, so we ate decent. My wife cooks, so that you can control. We didn't eat out much. But I had cut out all the fast foods. And,
were you able to just do it like that?
No, it was slow.
What was
that?
I
I encourage people to not just go all in on stuff because they don't. It doesn't work for most people. Some people can. Some people can go all out.
Well, some people, well, you're pretty disciplined, so you might be able to do that kind of thing. But
with some things, but diet, it's you're better off with baby steps. If you've been eating bad for 30 years, just cold turkey it.
It's hard.
You're gonna struggle.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
It's a lot more work. I mean, you got to plan ahead. You got to, you got to shop different. You got to, it's totally different. So,
especially when you're not doing it just for yourself too. So
right.
Family.
Yeah. Now it's there's 5 of us, so it's totally different. But I even eat better than they do actually. So because when I'm at the store, I'm there and I snack a lot. I can't sit down and have a meal. I get interrupted and phone calls and So but if somebody walks in and I'm having a snack, I don't want them walking and seeing me eating Doritos, which I don't eat anyway. But something
health store.
Let me help you with this.
Yeah.
What kind of supplement is that?
Yeah. how have you noticed the progression of Fit Camp over the years? Like, how has it changed, and how has it affected your results?
Yeah, as you went more into the CrossFit, you incorporated more strength, barbells, kettlebells, dumbbells, way more of that than there used to be. And, I like that more, Yeah, it's worked out really well for me. I feel at 51 that I'm probably in the best shape of my life. I have been for a while, I think, but, it comes and goes. I sometimes injure myself.
Yeah.
But,
To have that.
but I think what we do now is great. It's worked for me and a lot of other people too.
Yeah.
So.
And probably, let's see, it's been about a year and a half since we implemented the level method. And that's kind of fun.
I'm a fan of it.
Yeah.
I like to be able to look ahead and see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because if I do work out on my own, I don't want to. I used to work out on my own in between fit camps, and I can't tell you how many times I'd do something and then come in and up on the boards like, I did that yesterday. Now I can avoid that and I can look, so don't have to worry about it.
And then we put extra workouts on there for you guys to do.
Like the one today, where I feel totally exhausted now. So
yeah.
I feel good though.
Yeah. And then having the different levels is kind of cool, because then you being really strong in certain areas like the dips and the pull-ups and the push-ups and all that stuff, whereas somebody that's coming in that's maybe a beginner or brand new, they have different variations to where everybody can do the same workout and kind of get a good workout out of it. How do you like having the different levels for stuff?
I like it because there's days that I can't do the level that I I have to back off.
Yeah.
So and it's there and you can do it.
Right.
Yeah. So like when I hurt my shoulder was bugging me.
Yep.
I just backed down.
Yep.
So I could still do a workout, still feel really good, still sweat. I feel like I accomplished something instead of just today I'm not going to do anything. Just use lighter weight, less reps, whatever. You still do it. So still log it and have it there. So I like the level method. You can see your progress.
Yeah. How is that? Because I know I've been using it for at least it's been over a year now. A year and a quarter probably. From when we first did those initial tests to now, like what have you seen the biggest improvement on?
For me, like different areas.
Yeah, like what level?
My lower body strength and all that stuff.
Like front squats,
deadlifts.
Yeah.
Which I knew was always kind of an area of weakness for me because when I used to come to the gym on my own, I'd never be like, all right, leg day, let's go. I just never could do that.
Yeah.
I would do a little bit, but nowhere near, way out of proportion for my upper body.
Yeah.
And this forces you to address that stuff, and that's what I like. I really like that. And core, that's the number one thing. If I could say anything about this place is, I don't have the back problems I used to have.
Yeah.
I had a lot of back problems in my 30s.
I think that's the reason that you've gained so much strength in your legs, because it wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, where you could hardly deadlift 225 without feeling it.
Yeah, it bothered me. A lot. Yeah.
And what have you worked up to? I mean, I don't know if you've won at max, but
I haven't won at max in forever, but I've done 370 for 5, something like that.
Which is crazy.
So putting my max in 4, I would assume, but I've never felt good enough to just try it. I don't really want to be honest with you.
I didn't. Well,
and you don't have to.
No,
you don't have to.
I don't have to. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. But that's probably the number one thing about is my core. My core was weak when I was back. I just never did core stuff. Once I left the Army, I think my core was okay then. But a year and a half in the Middle East, my back was sleeping we slept on our vehicles a lot. We slept on bad cots, we slept on the roof of our trucks and stuff like that. My back was, I was 30, my back was messed up.
Yeah.
I come home, I would try chiropractic stuff. It helped, but strengthening my core here, number one thing I've done fitness-wise, I think, by far.
Which a lot of people struggle with hip and back pain and knee pain. And that stems from the core.
I don't have any of that stuff anymore.
That's good.
Maybe a little bit, if I overdo it. I still play basketball sometimes. I probably shouldn't. I go out 110%. So my knees will bug me, but it goes away.
Yeah.
I can come in here and still do stuff. And it's not, there's no knee pain. It's just,
just a little aggravated.
Because I overdid it.
Right. Yeah. There's some more questions on there about the name. One I wanted to ask was what the community's like here. Like, what would you have to say about the other members, the staff, just the community of the gym?
I've made friends here. Some really good people come here. I've learned that. You guys are all great. Welcoming. Nobody has to feel intimidated. You can walk off in here off the street in the worst shape of your life, and you don't have to worry about it fit right in.
Yeah,
It's,
seriously.
I feel. Yeah. So get you going, and
Did you know Bill prior to this?
Nope.
No. Yeah.
never
He's-
knew him
yeah,
before
you
in
guys
my
are
life.
pretty good
So that
friends.
day he jumped in doing the original style fit,
Yep.
class. He jumped in with Brett and I. Brett was there.
Yep.
I talked Brett into doing it.
Yeah.
And he jumped in with us that first day, and we both told him, "Man, you're gonna have a heart attack. Slow down." He's like, "Well, I'm here because I had a heart
Yeah,
attack." It's like, "Well, you
literally
need to
had
slow down
one.
so you don't have another one."
Yeah.
And he was all out. I mean, he
Yeah.
was like dying,
Yep.
and he's never looked back. And
Yeah.
he's done such a wonderful job.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy too. So
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
glad to
Yep.
get to know him through here. So
Yeah, that is really cool. It's like, so as far as your life outside the gym, how has getting into better shape, being fitter, like how does that impact, I guess, like stress levels, mood?
Yeah,
things like
I
that?
manage my stress levels really well. I really don't get too stressed. I mean, you have little things that come up in life, obviously, but on a daily basis, I don't. Like right now, I couldn't have anybody cover my store. So my store's closed. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. I'm here to relax with you guys. It's something different. I'm enjoying myself. We can talk for hours. I don't care.
Mhm.
So I manage stress really well because of working out here. I know it is. Yeah, it's my outlet. Really. Not that I have a stressful life, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has it impacted what you do with your kids? Like, do you really emphasize for them to do? Like,
I
be
try to
physically active?
set like a example for them.
Yeah.
Because I love to go out. My one boy likes football, so we go throw football around. My other one likes basketball, so I go out and shoot hoops with them, and I can do all that stuff, and it doesn't bother me. It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
easy. It's just like if I was 29 years old doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
That's
really paid off playing with my kids. Because I'm an older dad. I didn't have my first kid until I was 38. So
Yeah.
So
That's really cool to hear
Yeah.
because that's kind of like
I
honestly,
can
our
run. I
mission
can
in
run
life.
with them. I can do all that stuff with them. Swim,
Yeah.
anything. It doesn't matter. And,
Yeah.
I can keep up with them. I can wear them out.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
That's probably hard to
A
do.
lot of parents
Yeah.
probably wish that you didn't want to do
Oh,
that.
yeah, I was chasing around the other day on the
Take some energy out.
playground equipment and chasing around. I was climbing up, and jumping off, and diving through the slide, and coming down and rolling on the ground, and they're getting tired. They're like, "Dad, stop."
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so no, that's been great for
Yeah.
me, mental health wise and everything too. My
Yeah.
confidence is higher.
Yeah.
My wife compliments me on how I look. So
That's
it's just
right.
nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's great for your kids too.
Yeah.
Having that example of
I like them to be active, and they choose to go outside a lot. They're like most kids. They like to stare at screens. And we're like, nope, we've had that long enough. And they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna go outside then." We don't have to throw them outside. They just go outside.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
yeah, it's really good.
Very cool. What else we got? We can talk about the store.
we were chatting about the store.
So, well, you already kind of mentioned how you came about getting it.
Yeah,
Right. But if you want to talk about like what you offer there, what's your average customer? What are they looking for, or what do they need, kind of a thing?
Most people are looking for just basic supplements for, a lot of people just have their vitamins. Get a lot of people, and depending on the time of year that are sick, allergies, they just need supplements to get through that stress. Like I mentioned you guys earlier, it's probably the number one thing we deal with.
Yeah.
People come in, they're stressed for something in life. Stress is huge.
I think that's the number one killer, honestly.
It
Like
probably
stress
is,
leads
yes.
to
Yeah,
every
it
disease,
can lead to other diseases, inflammation in your body, which can lead to diseases. The stress, if you don't manage it, it will, it just takes a toll on you. It even makes you depressed, and if you don't do something about it, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
So I notice, people come in for, I get a lot of people in there are super healthy too. They're just looking for, herbs that they can't find somewhere, or tea, herbal teas, or certain vitamins, supplements that are hard to find, and things like that. So,
Yeah, most of your supplements are, well, you have like A through, all the individual vitamins. You got a lot of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories.
The selection of herbs in liquid and capsule and tea, and we have some healthcare products. Essential oils, those are big. We sell a lot of essential oils. But herbs and vitamins are bread and butter, basically.
Yeah.
Minerals too. Magnesium is probably like the top thing.
Yeah.
Vitamin D and magnesium.
Yeah.
Probiotics is another one too. Probiotics.
Yeah.
It's a lot of probiotics.
Yeah.
some food too in there, right?
Some,
And, like,
you know,
ingredients.
originally I would have liked to have had more of a health food store, and I had more food. Used to come in, I had more coolers and freezers back a while ago, but food just is, you know, like there was a gluten-free fad, you know, back a long time ago, and we sold a lot of that and a lot of healthy foods, and we did co-op orders where people would place large orders and they come in and split the cases up amongst each other and stuff. But that stuff's gotten to be more mainstream. You can buy a lot of those brands that we used to sell at Walmart, Meijer, Kroger, order it online. Yeah. It's hard to compete with that. I don't get good enough pricing on it to stay competitive. Supplements I do. I can make a living selling supplements. And COVID came along and really magnified that. And I scaled back. I scaled back the amount of food I had by weight. You know,
still got the Ezekiel bread though, right?
I have a freezer with some in it. I keep some in there.
That's good.
But I mean, you can buy that just about anywhere. Not to encourage somebody to go buy it elsewhere, but that's I don't get a good price on it. When I resell it, it's going to cost probably a little more than some people want. You know?
Right.
But you know, I have the supplements, and that's how I make a living. Selling supplements.
Well, my dad just came in there the other day. He has that low bone density, and what was that liquid that? It was K2.
Oh, it's a liquid, CalMag, vitamin D, complex, It's elemental, so it's highly absorbable. That's what he bought.
Yeah, so he was given this medicine from the VA for low bone density, and I mean, they didn't tell him anything about it. They just like, here, take this. Like, they didn't tell him the side effects, or like the symptoms, or anything about it really, or what it even does. So he's like, I don't really want to take this. I'll go talk to Mickey real quick, see what he's got. So he started taking this liquid. It's like just a little drop that you put on your tongue, I think, right?
No, he takes the one you take by the tablespoon, I believe.
It is the tablespoon, you're right.
That was going to be one of my questions, was this, like, you know, somebody comes in and they have questions, like, do you kind of help educate them a little bit on what the supplement is for, and kind of help them find the right thing?
Yeah, I can help them pick things out, help lead them in the right way. I can't prescribe or diagnose.
Right.
So I have to be very careful, you know, how I do that. But I can help anybody with any questions they have on any supplement. That's not a problem.
Well, it's different than if you go to Walmart, even if it's a little bit cheaper, but you're just taking a guess on what you need.
I mean, you can stop one of the clerks and ask them what they think, but I don't know what kind of answer you But that's, one thing I can provide is the service and the knowledge on that. And the companies I deal with provide a lot of training. You know, I get a lot of things online that I read that, keep updated on the latest research on them. So
that's good.
Yeah, on that, that's one way you stay up to date with the supplements that you're selling. Is there anything else that you do to make sure that it's effective and trustworthy, the brands you work with?
You want to make sure ideally they have their own lab where they process their own stuff. They're going to source things from all over the world because they all do that. So people is it all made in the United States? No, not always. Some supplements are, but a lot of like cinnamon and ginger, they come from overseas. It's just the way it is, So it's going to be like that, But you want it bottled here in the U.S. in a company that tests its own products and allows other companies to test their product, third-party testing.
Third-party.
And you get a magazine where I can go through. Well, it's online now. I don't actually get a hard copy, but you can go through and see the brands that fail and pass those kinds of testing. And I've discontinued brands that I've been like, oof, I didn't realize they don't score well. So it's like I don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Is that magazine available to the public?
I subscribe probably. I mean, almost any magazine is. I mean, you can sign up for, like the American Medical Association, like a doctor's thing. Anybody can sign up for a subscription to that. You don't have to be a doctor. You want to read, if you want to read all that technical research. But it is. Yeah.
Okay, I was curious. Yeah,
it's available. There's probably even free stuff out there.
Yeah, it's probably online too.
The information is. Like one of the companies I deal with has their own labs. They buy products off Amazon and they test them. They'll buy like 25. They've gone through. It's fun reading their stuff because they got a high tech, like a pharmaceutical grade lab, and they're right outside of Chicago. And they'll buy the latest one I read was bromelain. Okay, bromelain's a pineapple enzyme. It's popular. It's good for inflammation, digestion, different things. They're like, okay, there's all these brands on Amazon nobody's ever heard of. They bought one bottle of like 25 different brands and tested all of them.
Yep.
Like 2 of them passed.
Wow.
Some of them didn't even have bromelain in them.
Yeah. I've heard.
So they'll send fire letters off to Amazon and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Sometimes Amazon, they'll disappear off their website. Other times, it's sure. Making money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's sad. Supplement industry's not regulated really well.
No. I worked at GNC for 3.5
That's
years.
right.
And,
Yeah, I remember you telling me
and
that.
so I've watched a lot of supplements get pulled from the shelf and learned that a lot of supplements aren't regulated. And I mean, it's a big percentage.
Yes.
Like 80% could have something else in there or not
Yeah,
have what
and
it's
they
supposed to
probably
have.
do.
Maybe even
They
90%.
probably do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so looking for something that's third party tested or GMP compliant or whatever is definitely going to be important. And that you're going to pay more money for. So like I tell
all that stuff
everybody,
costs money, right?
yeah, I tell everybody it's like don't just buy the cheapest protein or cheapest vitamins that you can find. You know, one a day brand at Walmart,
Yeah.
synthetic
I
vitamin.
tell people that all the time. You're better off just go eat an apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or,
Seriously.
You're not getting anything.
You're buying expensive urine at that point. Or
Yeah,
something, you know.
Yeah.
If you're even digesting it.
Yeah,
know,
you
one out of
get
five
like
people
on
can
the
get
one a
some
days.
tablets down, you know.
They did research and you get like 5% utilization rate. It's
just a
terrible.
waste of money.
Yeah.
What's the name of the site that you, or like the magazine site that you?
It's Vitamin Retailer is the one that I subscribe to. So
Sweet.
which is, obviously for health and stores, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody can.
Let's see. So I guess we can go into words of wisdom. So
Ooh.
for somebody that would be on the fence about, you know,
Joining
coming to the gym, if they're nervous, they're intimidated, or unsure, I guess what would you? I know you touched on this a little bit, but what would you say to them about this gym?
It's extremely welcoming. Don't be intimidated. Come in, talk to one of you guys. You guys are great, easy to talk to, friendly. There's really, I understand. I've been there. It can be intimidating when you're new, but just get over that and come in, try it one time.
Yeah.
Come to the health store and talk to me about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Come with me. Come with me. You can show up with me in the morning. I don't care. I'll help you.
Yeah.
It's
I'll help
15.
anybody. Yeah. Not 7:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sleep in a little bit.
8 o'clock on Saturdays. Yeah, it's not always super early, but but no, just come in and try it. You know, you're not gonna be stuck in the gym. They're not gonna throw you in the gym with a bunch of guys slamming weights around, and that's not how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of two different worlds, really.
it is.
Yeah.
The people that want the access,
Way different.
we've got it. But then the people that want, like you mentioned, you're like, I'd come in and I didn't know really what to do or how to do it. I'd come in, there'd be a lot of people, I'd leave. You know, it's like with the group side and the training, we have a plan for you.
Yes. And it's
You're
it's worth the money.
Yeah.
I wasn't that long ago I stopped fit camp. I think you guys probably remember.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this on my own for a while.
Yeah.
That was a joke. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The accountability wasn't there.
Yeah.
The motivation from the people around, from you guys,
Yeah.
and from other people that you work out with. And just being in a workout environment. I don't care if you're in with a bunch of beginners, it still helps motivate
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So because everybody's got their own level, and nobody cares. Nobody's watching you. If you're struggling your first time lifting something, nobody cares. No, nobody's laughing at you. Nobody's judging you.
It's probably more likely that somebody's gonna, say, "Hey, great job, keep going. You're doing
Yeah,
good."
well,
Like they're
yeah.
gonna encourage you
Yes.
rather than judge you. For
Right,
it.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good to hear.
Yeah, you got a great group of people here. Some of the people that have been coming a long time are really good people and they'll encourage you and help you.
Yeah.
Those get who's asked.
Yeah.
I would help anybody if they asked me. I'm not one to just reach out. It's not my job for one.
Right.
But I would.
Yeah.
If somebody said, "Hey, can I work out with you?" Sure. I don't care.
And you guys form little groups like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. You work out with Katie and Joni comes sometimes.
Sometimes, right?
You have groups from class that come and work out just on their own because you guys support each other and that provides the accountability. Weekends, you work out with Bill.
Yeah, I try to get some time with Bill because
Yep.
I miss working out at night. I really
Yeah.
do, but it just doesn't work in my life right now. So
Yeah.
maybe someday, But I do miss working out with Bill. We push each other a lot.
Maybe someday, you never know when he might retire. He can
Yeah,
mornings.
you come back and get him in here in the morning. That's right.
Yeah.
But I've met other people like Brandon and
Yeah.
Mike and
Mike
Travis
and
and those guys, and we work out sometimes outside of fit camp, and it's nice. Yeah, so
Sweet. That's good. Glad to hear it.
Um,
Last thing, where to find you.
Yeah, there you go. Share the store location.
well, I thought
Contact
Just come to the gym. I'm probably in.
Yeah.
Maybe contact information for anybody that wants to check it out. And then TH Fitness members receive a 10% discount on the supplements.
Supplements,
Yeah.
So it's a pill you swallow, you get a discount on it, or
Yeah.
liquid. Food doesn't count, but yeah, the health store, 160 East Sand Lake, just on M46, east end of town. I don't know.
They're not open right now.
Yeah.
No one's there right
Don't go
now.
there right now.
Put a sign up, said be back. Just fine.
Going to the bathroom for a really long time. What's your phone number there?
810-648-3637. You can call or text. A lot of people text nowadays. Just text that number. I can answer questions. We have a massage therapist on staff. She's part-time-ish, but you can still get an appointment if you need one. If you need a massage, she's been doing it 30 years. She's phenomenal. Get an appointment before she retires here in the next couple of years. You can text and get a massage appointment or call. I don't have a website, which is something I
Facebook
need
page,
to
though.
do.
You
But
do
yeah,
that.
that helps
Yeah.
me find the health store on Facebook. And
Yeah.
that's
Awesome.
That's it. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Well, cool.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
having me on here.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. That was
It's
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, great story. So definitely want to put it out there.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
hope so.
motivate somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If I can ever help anybody, that'd be fine too. Yeah.
That's another thing that does surprise me is how many people, like your mom's another good example of just people that come in and you kind of have somebody that you help out as like when they're first getting started.
Yeah.
And a lot of people offer to help. Hey, I'll come work out with you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's
oh, come join our group for this
Yeah.
workout, that kind of thing. So.
And actually, I mentioned there's going to be a guy starting that was in the military that's kind of, in a tough place right now. And I
Sure.
personally asked you, I was like, hey, it'd be really good if you could kind of just partner up with him in class, kind of help him out a little bit, because you've got probably very similar stuff that you went
There's
through
things
when
in
you
common,
being in the
sure.
military
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for inviting me. I
yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully, you got some value from it, and go check out the health store. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.
Make sure you like and subscribe too. We need some more likes on our episode.